Hello there, and thank you for joining me today as I am thrilled that you have come to this site and want to learn a little bit more about the Egypt trip that is just right around the corner. The time is really winding down quickly, so if this is at all tugging into your heart or you're curious even just a tiny bit, I would strongly suggest that you stick with me here while I explain exactly what we're doing. And also because of the timing, I urge you to just really stick with your gut or that inner calling and respond quickly, as we do need to, would love to have you join our collective group as we're doing many preparations. So I will get straight to it here, and I want to share the screen with you, and we will go through something very concisely so that you understand what this mission Mat is all about. I should say that Mat, the goddess Mat, was truly about truth, justice, integrity, harmony, and balance. And the kings and pharaohs of Egypt, and even those pharaohs who had gone on to become gods themselves, always knew that they had to do Mat. This is the way of the universal order, the law of one, let's say, to rule by the truth. And that's how they would rule their empires and take care of their people. And so this is truly something that is one of our main reasons that we're going to Egypt, is to return our planet and our humanity, our beings like me and you, to the truth of what this life is all about. Now, hang with me here if you're not understanding what I'm speaking about, returning to the truth of who you are. Let me share the screen with you real quickly here and get you on this PowerPoint where I have prepared something for you that may be a little bit easier for you to understand. So the mission starts March 6th. It goes through March 20th. We will culminate inside the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid, which is phenomenal. The energy in there is incredible. So we will finish our works there. And this is where you yourself, when, after the trip is really, we've gone all the way down south to the Sudan border, and we've come all the way back up to Giza. This is where you really get the fruits of all the labors. This is truly something for yourself. So I would urge you to sign up now. The cost of the mission is $3,800 US. This is not for profit. This mission is not for profit. So I'm really charging what the price of the trip is going to cost us. So we have to pay for private accesses to some of these temples because we do need to have our own private time to do some of the things that we would like to do. And also it's nice to be able to be inside these temples and on these sacred sites by ourselves, so we can have time to really soak up what is there. And when nobody's around, it's much easier for one to do that. So you will have to pay the cost of your own flight in and out of Cairo. I will mention that I am staying longer than the trip for anybody who is interested in doing that. You're more than welcome to tag along with me and a couple of other folks. Right now, there's 3 of us that are going to stay and go visit the Red Sea to kind of integrate everything that we've done. And we're also going to visit Alexandria. So keep that in your mind if that sounds wonderful to you. You're more than welcome to join us. So basically, your contribution for participating and committing to this wonderful, great work is $3,800. And I would urge you to quickly get your deposits in, as we have a very limited group that will be going. And you definitely want to get that spot if this is calling you. The bottom line of what we're doing is we're trying to help our beloved Mother Earth. She is going through a lot of devastation right now, as you are aware. There are many things that are being destroyed. We are literally taking from her her natural resources. We're just not caring for them anymore. And a lot of things are going on the planet, whether you think you're a tree hugger or not, or whether you care about the environment. This is just a really crucial time to be living on our earth, because things are just showing through the years, and most recently, and particularly right now, that things are just not going too well. The earth is sick, and we as a humanity are getting sicker. The epidemic of chronic illness is at an all-time high. The Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh was asked what we need to do to save our world, and what he said is to hear within us the sound of the earth crying. And I have to say that on a journey into the Amazon jungle earlier this year in April, I connected deeply with our beloved Mother Earth, and this is exactly what I heard. I heard her plea for help, and what I was told in a telepathic way during that connection with her was she felt so betrayed that nobody really was paying attention anymore. And she's giving so much of herself. She's creating these beautiful, pricelessly gorgeous landscapes, these waterfalls. Every morning is a beautiful landscape. And she's given everything. She's given us stuff to, the food to eat so that we can survive, the water for us to survive. And she really hasn't been appreciated. And that was the message I got from connecting to her. So this is such a true statement from Thich Nhat Hanh, and I thought that I'd share that with you. In Earth's history, you've probably seen photos, you've read, you've connected on some point at this point in our reality, because what's going on is we're really destroying our planet from so many different angles. When industrialization started to hit the planet, we really have destroyed so much in a very little amount of time. And when you want to compare it to a calendar year, this image reflects that when you take it down to how much we are doing, or what the destruction that we're causing to the planet. And so when I'm inviting you on this trip, on this sojourn, it's twofold, because one, we are going there for a humanitarian mission, and we're also going there for ourselves so that we can raise our awareness, raise our consciousness, come into a unity consciousness so that we can all see with the same heart and the same eyes, and to return ourselves to the truth that, we really should care about one another. We really should care about the home that we live on, and we need to start working and cooperating together instead of really just going on as if it doesn't matter, because it does. And we have truly regressed as a humanity. We're just destroying our Amazon forest at an alarming rate. 20% or maybe up to 25% of the Amazon forest is now gone to logging, gone to agriculture, and the indigenous tribes there are really, they're crying, and they haven't been able to stop it, because, the system is such that we want profit. And it's become over greedy, as I would say. It's just we want more and more and more, and we're taking and taking and taking, and really not doing anything to care for our future. So if this is something we are not shocked to hear at this point. I mean, we're just going off the deep end. We're having many animals that we've seen become extinct. The water use is gone incredibly high, and that is due to the increase of population, of course, but also the quality of water is terrible. In some parts of the world, we still don't even have water. And so, if you're just even aware how we're being poisoned slowly by, drinking the water that has pharmaceuticals in it, for example. And that's why there's a whole lot of plastic, or why we buy plastic bottled water. it's just really gotten to the point where we can't even trust what's coming out of our taps anymore, because they put fluoride and, you know, other things that aren't good for us. Our foods right now they're not natural. The majority of the food that we are, you know, having in our grocery stores are all genetically modified. They're sprayed with these toxins, and it's making us sick. There's a large amount of Americans, millions of people, that are having digestive issues, and they're having responses to the toxins that are placed into our food. And it's unfortunate that they're making organic food so expensive that it really leaves very small amounts of the population to be able to afford it. And it's just a travesty when you think about it. You know, I mentioned earlier the plastic bottle water usage because of the water. And this is just destroying our oceans completely. It's just really terrible. There's like 100 million sea mammals that are killed each year from consuming plastics alone. I mean, the numbers are just alarming. Not even, you know, I didn't even mention that 70% of our rangelands where we're farming are severely degraded already. And that is why also they're putting stuff into the soil, because the soil can't give back anymore. It's just depleted of nutrients. You know, the 20% of the tropical forests on our planet have been cleared since 1970. I mean, it's just alarming. We could talk about statistics over and over and over again, but I wanted to get to a point of just where we have become and where we're going, and why it's important that you come on this mission if any of this rings true to you, or if you feel that you would like to help do something about it. And I'll get to that in just a bit, how we're going to do that. You know, another thing here that we see all over the world is that, particularly in the United States, is that we're just really overworked, and it seems like we're not even getting paid the wages that you would expect through the inflation and through the years that we should be earning. And so we're seeing a degradation also of how we are able to live. The middle class right now has been absolutely destroyed. And you know, I've seen this in my own life with my two children who are recent graduates of college. Both of them have incredible degrees. One has a degree from an Ivy League college, and another has a master's from another very well reputable business school. And the shocking part is that my daughter is earning what I earned, less than what I earned per hour during my first job out of college. And she is working at the hospital running lab tests on blood. I mean, this is having to do with people's livelihoods and their health and their reports and how they get feedback on what the condition is. And she's making less than I made in my first job out of college. And it's just shocking. It's sad. And part of that is because we have bumped into a whole consumptive modeling system that we're buying into. We're like in the prison of our own world that we have created, because we're buying and buying and buying. And it's just this sick cycle where we're killing ourselves going to work. We're earning money to buy more stuff and to go and to buy and buy and buy. And that doesn't stop, because then we want more, because these ads keep circulating around that we need this and we have to have that. And the alarming thing is that worldwide, 99% of everything bought within 6 months is no longer in use. They don't even make quality things. And we can see that in our computers, our software, for example. It's just shocking that we are making more and more products for us to buy that don't last anymore. And many of them make us sick. So the foods that we make are sickening us. Even if we drink water out of plastic bottles, we now know that that's even dangerous, because they leach. That plastic leaches into the water, and it's highly toxic. And yet we're putting all our products into them. We're putting our foods and our juices and our condiments. You can't buy a condiment these days, hardly, without it being in a plastic bottle, and all of that is going into our bodies, and it's changing our health. It's changing the beautiful, divine, perfect DNA structure that we have. And of course, we are making ourselves sick, and we just need escape. So we're drinking, or we're smoking to take the edge off, or whatever it is, and we're slowly even not even tending to our healths anymore. And if that's not enough, the predictions are coming depending on where you get your information. But it's either, the apocalypse is coming, get ready for the world to end, or, there's going to be this humongous economic collapse. And we're seeing it all over around the world. There was Greece and Spain. And, here in the United States, we're seeing this topsy-turvy divisiveness because of the distaste for our own president. But, to be honest, this is nothing new. It's all been happening for a very, very, very long time. And things are just corrupt. Not in one place at all. It's happening all over the place. And it's not looking good at all. It's just not. And the divisiveness between humanity is escalating. We've been watching wars for years on end, for years and years on end, and it's still not stopping. And the excuses to continue to create war, to start a war, are still very present. And the fear factor that is being placed into the consciousness of humanity, that we are, in danger, we need to protect ourselves, is all just a complete false reality and a false illusion. It's really for those who are vested in the arms and who can make money out of wars, or to, try to terrorize people or countries for the oil because we're so dependent on fossil fuels. It's all a game for those who want to profit, and it's really not doing us any good at all. And I have to say that this mission in a large part is for those who really want to offer their time to return this planet and humanity back to a benevolent, very loving, cooperative humanity that stretches around the planet so that we take care of ourselves. And right now, we're just not. And we have to often look to our indigenous tribes sometimes to touch base and see, how they did it, because they're a peace-loving people. And I have a very strong connection to the Native Americans. My grandfather on my mother's side was a Native American and belonged to the San Juan tribe or reservation in northern New Mexico. It's the Okewinge tribe. And I really see them as the original earth protectors and peacekeepers, because many of the things that they have been saying and predicting are things that great masters, ascended masters, and prophets have said for years. It's to be kind to each other and to love one another and to treat each other as we want to be treated. And we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We're actually borrowing it from our children. I mean, we're only here for a temporary amount of time, and then we're gone. But what are we leaving our children? What are we leaving our grandchildren? So I just am asking you to think about this in a larger scale, because I have said this is a huge spiritual sojourn, and it is. It's of a magnitude that nobody could expect what will happen. But once you open up that loving heart and you understand that we are all in this together, and we also have to take care of our home, it becomes a little bit more real. And Egypt will show that to you, I'm very sure. And right now, it's just what's going on is like, why? Really, really, why? Why are we even in this situation? Why? And this picture just says it all. It really touches my heart that we are disrespecting and not honoring and not loving one another, and that these pure light beings, these innocent children around the world, and even those that we know in our own communities, we're bringing them into a future that really doesn't look good at all. And so this is an opportunity to step up and take part in that. So I just want you to think about it for a moment, about where we are and where we're going. And if you would like to truly make a contribution in this lifetime, we all want to leave something behind. It would be nice if we could leave a legacy behind. It would be nice if we could feel that our presence and our time here on earth was of true value. And it doesn't have anything to do with how much money we make or what career we had. Those things are just truly immaterial when it comes to your last breath. You know, I had a near-death experience in which I left the body for a short amount of time. And in that time, I realized, and I was fortunate that I had seen things, and as I was leaving, I was very happy that I had lived a beautiful life, and I had no complaints, and my kids were healthy and they were going to be okay. And one thing that it taught me in that brief moment of not being in the body was that I will never die. It showed me my immortality, because consciousness is immortal. Your true essence of who you are is immortal, and you just go on into the next door. You go into another experience. And so I just, I want to leave you with that, because we're going to get a little bit more into the nuts and bolts of this awakening within and the spiritual journey. But if you want to just look at it from a linear perspective, you know, we have the earth has been beautiful and prolific and just flooded with the most generous landscapes and all sorts of species of all kinds, from the animal kingdom to the, you know, the plant kingdom to the waters that were here. I mean, the numbers of whales and dolphins have diminished dramatically. And so it really was this heaven here. This earth is and has been a heaven, and we're slowly going in a direction to where it looks pretty bleak, just from the aspects of how we're caring for the planet. So it's not so much that the earth cares what we're doing. The earth will survive. The earth will do what it's going to do. There's just cycles in nature. The earth is really not saying, okay, well, take care of me or else. It's not that. The earth will happen. Will take care of itself. It's what we're doing to ourselves. And we are so unconscious right now. We are not looking at that aspect. And this is an invitation for you to have a really significant contribution, not only for all humanity and the planet, but also to really give you a boon and an awakening, and to really step into or step out of what we are currently sensing and perceiving is our own reality, and it has to be this way, but to also step out of that so that your eyes can be opened to the availability of going back into a beautiful life in harmony together with, where the planet is living with us also in harmony, and we're caring so deeply for her that we are once again living in a very prolific times. So I do just want to remind you that you are welcome. Everybody is welcome, because every single person that steps forth is doing such a great selfless service to return the earth to her abundant aspect, and that we can live and enjoy this reality rather than the one that we are currently living. So please visit the site if you haven't. I'm not sure how you got to this video, but if you haven't gotten to the site, it is maatma.org, MAATMA.org, and look at all that I have written there, how the mission came about, what we're going to do, where the accommodations are, and what we plan on visiting and enjoying while we're there, because you will get a lot out of it. So to put this in another perspective, to bring the whole individual, inherent journey of you as a light being, a beautiful soul, I just wanted to share this photo with you. And I did take all these photos off the internet, and if you are somebody who made this art, I just want to say thank you for putting it out there. I don't have any intention on claiming it as my own at all. This is only for educational purposes and to share with people, to give them an idea of what I'm trying to communicate. So we have a beautiful opportunity right now because of what's going on in the greater galaxy that we may not be in touch with on a daily basis, at least in our conscious minds. But we have a window of opportunity that we are in alignment in our galaxy, the way everything is aligned in the galactic center. We are in perfect timing, which has been predicted through the prophecies of the Mayans, and that have been in old scriptures books. I mean, even in the book of Revelations talked about a certain end of times and some of the signs. And the Hindus, all of religion, also had this predicted very closely to what the Mayans had predicted, but they had greater lengths of times in their years, and their calendars were different. But it's pretty much showing the same thing. It is a cycle that goes and keeps repeating itself over and over, because all life is circular in motion. Our cells are circular in motion. If you see water falling, down naturally, it's going to make a tunnel. It goes in a circle where, we're like a nautilus that is round. And so everything works in cycles. And that is what you need to understand. As I said, that the earth will just do what it's going to do. It's going to be this cycle. But we don't want to eliminate our species, and we would really like to enjoy earth here. So we're coming into a new age of time, and as the Hindus put it, it kind of cycles over and over. So we are now at the bottom of the screen. We're in the Kali Yuga age. It's the Iron Age. So there's gold, silver, bronze, iron, and we're at this balance or turning point, okay? Because once you get to the bottom, it's going to ascend and go right back up to a golden age. And so we are at this point in our time where it was predicted that the cycle was going to happen. Let me see if I could go back here real quickly. Nope. I guess I don't have that slide here. But we're at a turning point, and I think you can feel this just in the heat that we're seeing right now with the climate change and these weird weather patterns, and even how we're manipulating our weather. Great wildfires, and even wildfires that aren't really natural wildfires. I mean, we're just really imposing in our collective field of consciousness that there's this grave time to be fearful of, and that these times are coming. But the point that you need to understand is that we're in this time where the things are aligned in the cosmic universe, at least in our galaxy, and we have this opportunity because we're going to be going, after this age, we're going to go back into a golden age. And the good news is, we're at this point right now in this cycle of time where we have a window, and we're going into a golden age where things can become beautiful again, and we can really experience that opulence and prosperity and abundance and everything that is truly here for us to enjoy. And many people are waking up to this fact. Many people are starting to see through this great illusion. They're starting to see through this theater that we've been fed from the systems and from our political systems and governments. And this isn't just here in the United States, it's all around the world. And people are starting to say, hey, wait a minute. wait a minute, something is off. And it's called the awakening. People are waking up, or they're lifting in their consciousness. They're starting to feel that something just isn't right, and we have to do something about it. And this is being felt by every single one of us. And it's being felt by me, it's being felt by you, because everything in our universe is connected. There's this huge quantum field, this big, large energy field, just made up of atoms and electrons. That's what, is in our bodies. That's what's, we're not different in that way. And science has proven that if, one thing happens in one dimension, it can also happen in another dimension. So, one little ripple, one little drop in the ocean has a ripple effect. And that is how you can make a real difference by coming on this trip, because everything is connected. And if we were to put our energies together, we would have a great an impact as a larger mass of this energy, or of this light, so to speak. And so the truth is that this mission has the intention to help anchor in that true aspect, not only of what is available here on Earth, but that true aspect of who we are, who we are in our true divine essence of the creation itself. Now, you've heard the term made in his image, of the creator. There is nothing that is not connected at any one time. To be honest, there's no difference between you and I. We are the same being, the same thing. We're experiencing different things, but everything is interconnected. And so, we have these illusions that, I am female and you are male, or you are, Chinese and I am, Japanese, or, I am Muslim and you are Catholic. And, we try to divide everything so that it kind of creates this illusion of separation, and that we're all individual, and it puts us in that mindset of disconnect, rather than within a unity consciousness field of operating. And the truth is, we are all one. We are all one across all dimensions, all multi-dimensions, all multi-universes, across all the planets, across all places that are in space and time, and that we're all connected, because we're this interlocked web that is itself its own living being in the cosmos. And so we are only a microcosm of the macrocosm. We're basically just reflections of what is. And if you want to look back at, our eyes, if you've ever looked into somebody's eye, you can see the universe in that eye. It's like looking at these pictures of the cosmos. And it's just being a reflection back of what is inside us. What is inside us? We're that universe. We're that universe. So hold that thought, because I want to show you that you are the universe expressing itself as a human being for a little while. We are here in this life experience for a very temporary part of time to experience this life. We all know we're here for a temporary moment in time. We don't know when that moment is going to end, but we all know, since the day we're born, that we're going to leave the body. And so we are here only experiencing this right now for a short amount of time. And then, as I experienced, once I left the body, I move on to another form or to another reality. I never really got there. I just knew that it was opening up and I was moving on. But I definitely knew that while this person was laying in the emergency room bed, that was just the body. And so this needs to really cement in your awareness, in your brain, in your consciousness, because you already know this. But what I want you to know is that we can come together and try to do something really valuable, not only for our own beings and our own the divinity and that light that is within us, but for the entire planet, because everything is made out of sacred geometry. It's just math. It's geometries and frequencies and sound, and it's just light. So all of it is one humongous energetic body that is expressing itself through different waves, whether it's sounds like you're hearing my voice, whether it's vibrations that you're hearing, or maybe if you're experiencing because you're running and your body is vibrating a little bit. Nikola Tesla says it so succinctly, and I really love this, is if you really want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And knowing that alone and understanding that you are an energetic field all by yourself and that you are part of this multiverse, that you are connected to it all, really puts things in perspective for when we go to do our mission in Egypt. Now, this is the temple where we will begin our official works. This is the temple of Nefertari. She was the queen to the Pharaoh Ramses II. He had one of the most successful and longest dynasties under his rule, and he loved her so much. She was the only queen that had a temple dedicated to her, and it was her temple and the goddess Hathor, whom you see in that pillar with the long hair that's curled at the shoulders. That's the goddess Hathor, who was pure, loving benevolence, and was from the time of the Hathors. If you've done any research, and if not, please look them up. It's Hathor. There were these beautiful, giant beings, very divinely connected, and would sing. They would just sing like angels, and they would keep the vibration and the upliftment of the earth while they were here through their voices, through their sound, through that vibration that was traveling. And so this is where we're going to start our official works. I, in fact, was shown in a vision that I needed to go in here and go into a chamber, a specific chamber. So if you are walking in from the front door, this is it. And off to the right, this is the Ramses II temple. Excuse me. Let me go back here a bit. When you go in this door, it's going to be to the right. Right now you can't see a door that would be off, say, behind this pillar, but there's several chambers in there, and this is where we're going to end up. And her temple is situated within walking distance, a couple of minutes of the Ramses the second temple, which is phenomenal too. So we will go into both of these temples, but our official works start in the Hathor Nefertari temple, in which I was shown that I needed to go into a particular chamber and energetically undo some of the things that have been done through time and have brought us to this time. So I would like you to just consider and open up that your contribution is highly valuable, because whether or not you have any spiritual path background at all, whether or not you believe in spirituality or a higher consciousness, or if you are in tune with any of the expanded awareness of your cosmic being self, I want you to think of this for a moment, because we actually think we're just in this physical body, that we're just this human being, and that's the end of it. I'm going to live, I'm going to work, I'm going to buy food, I'm going to eat, I'm going to die. And that's not the truth. We have just been in this Kali Yuga stage for a while, where the vibrations, let's say, or the energy frequencies have come down, not just a notch, but a lot, in which we are trapped really at a very low energetic level, and where our truth of who we really are as a light being, we're really just light. We're this beautiful light, this divine light, and that is what keeps our heart beating, quite frankly. Is this light, is this God divinity, this light that is within us. And so if you understand that, if you can even imagine that us getting together in this temple or as a group, if we all focused in opening up that light that we all have, it's in our hearts, and the fusion of our heart that can then speak to the brain. And when we kind of merge those two with the intention and with that divine light that we are inside, we can have a really big impact in moving energy, or at least holding a container in which this light force field is present. And I have to say that no darkness can exist in the light. If you bring a candle into a dark room, it's going to illuminate. So what we're doing is pooling our light beings or light essences, that divinity that is with us, that we each have, whether we want to say, well, I know I'm a Baptist, or it doesn't really matter. It has nothing to do with religions or beliefs. It's just the knowing. This is the truth here. And when we pull this light together, we can really have a huge impact, because what we're trying to do is pull that light and then put it deep into the earth grids. We want to intentionally offer that into the heart, into the belly of our beloved Mother Earth, so that we can help her, rejuvenate as well, and help her with this transformation to what we would like to bring forth. And we simply have to just come together as a collective. And we don't have to really do anything except be together, intend for it to happen, and stay there for a moment until we will, and we'll feel it. We'll feel how we come together. We'll feel the energy, and we'll really look out for that. And when it's done, it's done. And I will guide you for what I have been told. And this doesn't mean that you have to break any particular beliefs or rules that would make anyone think that you are, doing something weird. It's more that you really feel responsible at this point to do what you can, and you can do a lot simply by stepping up, being present, and using that energy, that loving energy that is you, to help spread it around and into the earth. And here's another rendition that may also help to explain what we have been talking about, is that we are our own energy fields, and we're connected to everything. We're connected from our hearts into our brains. You've heard of the third eye, which rests right between your eyebrows at the center of your forehead. And we can really try to move, and as we visualize the light going, we can put it down into the earth, and we can help it move all the way up through our heads, the crown of our heads, and shoot it out into the field around us and into the universe. And we just hold that there for a bit, because once we actually do this together and we come into this space, everything that is resonating in that same loving aspect, in that higher frequency of light, because we're opening up our fields to be that, it will connect. It's like finding that dial on the FM radio just so. Once we pull that frequency together, then it can actually do something and connect. And that's what I'm asking you to do. This is another rendition so that you can further understand that if you've heard the story of the Buddha, or if you've heard the story of the Christ, the Buddha means the awakened one. Buddha is a title, as Buddha itself means awakened one. The Christ was also a title as the anointed one. And what they both did was they did a lot of meditation, and they did it under trees, or they did it in solitary places. And what they did was they connected to this aspect of their light being, and they connected with all that is, with that Christ consciousness, if you will, or the divine, or the omnipresent, omniscient, omni-loving aspect of the creator creation itself. And how we do that is we just open our hearts. So the left rendition kind of, I'm trying to show that let's pretend that's your heart right now. It's just this beautiful, loving light, this lamp within you, the oil of that lamp that's in you. It's shining bright. Whether you feel it or not, it is there. And when we open that aspect up, it kind of explodes, and it just really opens up, and it just shines so brightly. And those who spent a lot of time connecting with the heavens, or the higher dimensions, or the higher realms, or the larger aspects of the consciousness, to find that truth within. The Buddha was named the Buddha after he was realized, much like Christ, who found this. The Buddha was actually a prince and left his castle and all those wonderful things because he felt something. There was something more. There was something that he couldn't put together, and he left. And after spending a lot of time in meditation, this is what happened. And so I'm just saying that this is the same thing that is available to you. It's available to every single person that walks on this planet, and we have the alignments in our galaxy to make it happen. So we're not only going there to open up our hearts and our light, to really pull that into the field, the energetic field of the earth herself, to go and intend to undo, let's say, what's been incorrectly done and bring back the balance so that we can live in harmony. And not only in harmony amongst each other, but in harmony with our opposite sex, so that the divine feminine, if you're a female right now, you're a divine, feminine, beautiful being here, a beautiful light being. And if you're a male, you are also the same beautiful, incredible, loving light being of masculine energy. And right now, we have the opportunity, because this window is open, to bring the both into harmony. So there is no patriarchal society and there isn't a matriarchal society. It's one which is equally balanced. And when it's in balance, that is when we can bring the balance back to everyone and the entire planet, because we're thinking and seeing the right way. We're seeing each other as divine beings. So we will do this in several temples, and we will culminate in the Great Pyramid in the King's Chamber. And this pyramid will also, on our final day, on the 20th, we will go inside the King's Chamber, and after that we will go into the Sphinx, between the paws of the Sphinx. And it just so happens that today is the birthday of the dream stella. And you can barely see, but if you look on the left-hand side of the picture, in between the Sphinx right there, there's a little tablet in the center. And that's a very interesting story, because today is the birthday of a particular realization that this young boy, when he was so tired and hot, he went to try to sleep under the shade of the Sphinx, and he had this vision revealed to him where these hieroglyphs and a story of some prophecies were revealed, and that's the tablet of what he was told. And so it's quite sacred, and there's a tunnel underneath the Sphinx that actually has a portal that can take you in, and you can connect with the high heavens. And the pyramid itself, and the pyramids that have been built, are in such a way in their geometric structure that they were built precisely to connect with the stars. And the three pyramids that you see here are reflecting the Orion's belt. And there's larger pictures of how Egypt is set up, but it really does mimic many of the stars and the star being planets, let's say, of other civilizations. There's a deep connection to the Pleiades through the geometric and also the what would you call it, the locations of where they put them in Egypt. And the Great Pyramid itself is actually an ascension chamber. So the pharaohs, after they died, would go into the chamber, and they would lay them in a sarcophagus. And this was a send-off for them to go back into the heavens, back to where they came from. And I'm sure that I'm not the first one to say this, but it's been known or told, or at least whispered in many ears, that we are from the stars, and we are just stardust, because we're all connected. And so I just want to give that idea to you, because what we do inside the Great Pyramid is something really amazing. We will put our tones together. We will sing, or we will chant, or we will tone our voices to also amplify our vibrations, so that it can spread out into the greater atmospheric area. So we're not only going to be working in the land, but we're going to actually try to put it out outside, or on top of the land, to go back into the heavens, let's say. And being in this Great Pyramid is unbelievable, because you get highly activated from the geometries. It's made in such a way that whatever you need, or wherever you are, you will get amplified. And it's a gift to be able to receive this amplification, because what it does is it just really lifts your entire resonance of your body into higher realms, or in higher dimensions, because your frequency, or the pitch, gets higher. So, just like you can speak very low in a very low tone, or you can speak up here. It's much like that with your body. You can accelerate your own resonance. We're already seeing that the earth herself is hitting these peaks in her resonance. We're hitting these peaks that we haven't seen or felt before. We're also getting blasted by plasma rays from the sun that we haven't had before. And this is humongous energy, and it's at very high wavelengths and frequencies that you may be noticing from time to time, that you just feel off, or you need more water, your head hurts, people are feeling sick, like they're getting a cold, or dizzy, or they need to lay down, or they're feeling fatigue. And this is because it's really happening. There is this portal that is aligned. There are these newer, higher frequencies that are coming up. And so we have an opportunity to uplift ourselves. Basically, this trip can uplift you back into that divinity that you are, if you only take the courage and the step to show up. And I'm not saying you're going to turn into an angel overnight, right? Because you have to work at it. You have to be aware of where you are, and your eyes have to open, and your eyes will become more open. You will notice different things. You will get these initiations. You're going to be graced with initiation, or an activation that will uplift you in a way from where you are exactly on your life path or your experience. And I'm sure that many of you may have been hearing, because there's so much word out there these days that either want to get people amped up that the world is going to end, or that there's only a certain amount of people that are going to survive. And the misnomer is that there's this 144,000 light beings, or people that will be saved, or save the earth. And it's both in the Revelations, and also in the Emerald Tablets that were written by Thoth, 30,000 years ago. When they started discovering these things from Egypt, the big conflict and the big war, secret war, was that the Catholic Church, didn't want these artifacts to be properly, put out in how old they were, because it would have thrown the Bible completely off. They had already written the Bible, and it was, the earth, and, Adam and Eve didn't come until 2,000 years ago, or whatever it was. And so, the Emerald Tablets had already prophesized that we would come to a time on our planet that it would get so bad that we have our own save ourselves from disaster button that will be pushed. And there are 144,000 of these light workers, or these human beings that are on the planet now. Many of them are here right now, that are genetically, cellularly in their genetics, have this button, let's say, or this this genetic encodement that that will be awakened at this time, or triggered to step forth to do something for the planet. And so that's basically what this mission is about. I'm asking you, are you one of these beautiful, benevolent, amazing light beings? We're all light beings, but are you one that is here to step forth, to do our work, to help return it to the balance, to help return it to its integrity, to help return it to the truth of who we really are and what this earth really is? And, you know, we've seen it over the ages, over and over through the eons of cycles. You know, Arametana was the original earth, and then it dropped down into Tara, then it dropped down into Gaia, and now it's Earth. And they've all been beautiful, prolifically abundant planets, but consciousness in its frequencies were dropping. And through the cycles, that's why you know, as I showed you in that diagram of how the cycle goes around, everything in nature is going to come back around. It's going to come back around. So Earth will take care of itself. If it has to, you know, implode and destroy itself and to be new again, then it goes into something else, who knows? But we have a chance and an opportunity, and the window is here for us to actually do something about it. So I would highly suggest that you think quite quickly. I mean, take your time, but hurry up, is what I'm asking. You have to know almost inherently if this is something that you would like to step forth and do. And you have to be able to do it. And it's right around the corner. So you do have to get that flight ticket. You do have to pay for those folks that are going to lead us across the land and be our guides and our protectors and our wisdom keepers to tell us the information, and the private access fees, which are rather exorbitant. The trip itself isn't so much, but it's the government, the antiquities division of their government really takes a lot of money for us to get into these places. And so we are paying mainly to have private access to a handful of these places and these sites, so that we can actually get the most out of what we came there to do, but also to get the most for ourselves. Because what I noticed when I went there in August, these walls are very, very much alive. They're incredible. They're encoded, and you can get a lot. You will definitely be taking a quantum leap in your spiritual path. And if you're not even aware consciously that you're on a spiritual path, well, you are, and maybe perhaps this is that step that you need to take to actually enter or walk in the shoes that you came here to do. And if anything, maybe you just want to go do some good. Maybe you just want to say, you know what? I see what's going on around me and it hurts my heart, or I want to do this for my children, or I want to do this for future generations. I want to be a part of it. I want to do something, what I can, and all you have to do is show up. So just want to remind you again that you are welcome. Anyone is welcome. And I would highly suggest that you reserve your spot immediately. And there's a $1,500 deposit to reserve your spot. There are just a few spots left. And I'm putting out the call. It seems like these final people that are supposed to be here haven't heard it yet, or they haven't been able to tap into or get an awareness of it. So I'm doing this webinar as a way to put that energy out there into the field by saying, hey, we still need you. We still need you. And remember, there is no planet B. So this is it. We either save our species, save ourselves, save the planet, and nothing's going to happen overnight. So maybe you can say, yeah, well, not in my lifetime. I'm not going to see the end of times, and that's fine. But I would urge you to feel responsible, because you did walk this land. You are here, and you have been put here for a reason. And your presence already is enough. Really, it is. But if you could step forth and come into an aspect where you would like to truly do something that would be of great benefit and also do something for yourself, then I would highly recommend that you join us. And I know that many of you may not know me from Adam. You don't know who I am or what I've been doing, and why should you trust me? And I don't, there's nothing that I can do to prove you or convince you in any way, and that's not what this trip is about. This really is about you, and if it feels right to you. And I went there back in August, and I received an insurmountable of priceless gifts and initiations, and awakening into another aspect of my divine self that has been the greatest blessing of my life. And I feel rather supported, and I feel blessed and honored that I can now be here on this planet to help others open up to the same, and to do something that is good for them, and to harness in this unity consciousness that we're in right now, this window, so that we can, I just want to water the garden, let's say. I want to do my part, and this is part of that. I was highly activated by the last trip, and particularly in one temple. And I had been able to open up my energetic field in such a way that I got infinitely blessed. And one of the things that I got was a little tap on my shoulder when I got back, and it said, you have to go back. You have to go back and take others. And there's one little thing that needs to be done. And why they picked me, I don't know. Why am I picked? I don't know. But at least I have the eyes to see and the ears to hear that right now, and I'm responding. And this trip isn't about me. I'm not making any money off of it. In fact, I may end up in the short, because I have given the deposits for the entire group. And if the entire group doesn't show up, if I'm still lacking, then I will gladly pay them. And this is really from my heart. It's just really from my heart, because I have something that is inside me right now that is ringing so true and so authentic that I have to respond. And so I'm doing that, and I invite you to join me and the others. So thank you for listening. It's been a long talk, I know, but I hope that this puts it into a little bit better perspective for you, and know that you are welcome. So thank you so much, and have a beautiful rest of your day or your night, wherever you are.